I was talking to a person before, whereby you believe that as long as you are able to continue, once you come to the knowledge of God, you're able to continue with your own goodness. You don't need the blood of Jesus to pay for your sin, because we believe that He Himself is God, and that we are gods. Like once we have the knowledge of God, then we become God. So I have to tell them that no, that none is good. Like you can't be God, because there's certain standard that God has already said in His commandments, and once you've already fallen short of one, you're not a good person. You're not God. You're not even meeting up to His standard. But he was fully convinced that, he said, okay, and then he gave a thing that if Jesus Christ blood was okay enough to take away the sin, that God was trying to tell us something, because He told Abraham not to kill Isaac. So He said the reason why God told Abraham not to kill Isaac was because no blood was needed for our sin. So I mean, that kind of like it kind of like makes sense in His own way, but then I'm like, God still telling a story, because if you look at God's way, it's always, there's a pattern. So He's telling you that there has to be a holy son for a sacrificial thing to be fulfilled. That was the story that God was saying when it comes to Abraham and Isaac. But he was still convinced that he doesn't need the blood to be made right with God. He was fully convinced in his heart that there wasn't anything I could have told him that he would accept. Yeah.
We give to born-again Christians who are sharing their faith when they are confronted with people who are adamant that they are good people. What kind of advice would you give to them to share with people who think are good?
Yeah, the only advice I have is for someone like that, once you've already went through what you could have used to persuade them in a way, biblically to tell them, then the only thing you can do is pray for them, for God to, because their heart is pretty much hardened. That's the only thing I can come to, the conclusion I can come to. So it has to do with their heart being hardened, and that only God can bring them to the knowledge of Christ. So just pray for them.